All right, so now for my overall on the book. Some of it is not that easy because it has been a lot of weeks since I was this early in it. Um, A New Hope, I'm pretty happy with. It does have weaknesses, but some of it, I don't like putting it this way. I really don't, especially because, hang on, let me check something. I want to quickly check. Okay, a novel by George Lucas is who's named there. It does. Wait a minute, then who? What? There's three different authors: George Lucas, Alan Dean Foster, Donald Glut. He was Empire. James Caan was Return of the Jedi. It's George Lucas that's listed for um, A New Hope, though. So I'm a little confused with the unless it is just they're putting in. You know what? Just a moment. Maybe I know. Maybe I know. Nope, that wasn't it. I was thinking maybe the prequel trilogy. That one of the books there was written by him, and it's just like a standard uh, back material, back matter. No, I don't know why he's listed there. And maybe it is that he actually did write, or at least contributed with some of these. But anyhow, and it's hard to find some of this because it's okay. No, that is. But yeah, A New Hope. The thing I was trying to say is it felt the weaknesses in it felt to me like somebody's early work, like somebody who's not necessarily a experienced writer yet. So they have various weaknesses in there that somebody with more experience would catch. And I say that as somebody who has more experience, but is not. I'm not on the level of many people. That nothing wrong with that. But it's like I'm working on my sixth novel. I do have experience, and I do notice these things. That's part of the reason why I'm doing the criticism as well, is to help me catch more, so I don't make those mistakes. Um, but yeah. So that more so is how I'd put it with A New Hope, with is more so missed opportunities. Also, you got the whole, Luke makes quick decisions for good or for bad that never has a payoff. This makes no sense at all. It's completely inconsistent with his character before and after the comment. So, yeah. Even during, because it's like explaining him, giving 3PO's suggestion to Uncle Owen about what to do about the red droid exploding there. And 3PO's like, why don't you suggest taking the blue R2 unit? I've worked with him before. He's very good. And even says in the book, and this is just my memory from it weeks ago, that 3PO's like, the Jawas don't know how good a quality he is in. Like, they haven't looked him over yet and realized that he's in terrific shape. And it's like, why you'd have that comment there makes no sense. Because it makes perfect sense for Luke to pass that suggestion on to Owen. Especially because what else is being explained there is Owen and the Jawa are fighting. And this is a bad argument because Owen cannot let himself be taken advantage of here, both because he has to take care of himself, and also he's trying to save face. The Jawa is too. He doesn't want Owen to think that he's trying to rip him off, because Owen is seeing it as if I piss this Jawa off too much, his sandcrawler can run over my homestead, kill everyone, destroy everything. I can't let that happen. That's bad, but I need to save face. The Jawa is like, I don't want to piss him off, because if I piss him off, then it might piss off other settlers that'll come and start trying to kill me and a whole bunch of other Jawas. But I need to save face. So this suggestion is actually a very good suggestion. And there's zero reason not to pass it on, because it does allow a reasonable compromise, because the Jawa would be like, no, we're not trying to rip you off. Here, we have another unit. Will this work? I would say he's not thinking about that, but one suggests it's like, yes, that's perfect. Go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it, because it's like, I'm dealing with you in good faith. I really am. So here, yes, you can have that. Because to him, it's just another droid, and it concludes this. And to Owen, it's like, well, yes, now I am satisfied because I'm getting what I paid for. So it's, yeah. Issues like that. But it is you delete that sentence, and then that's a really positive improvement. But there are other issues as well, like the whole big situations. But things like Kenobi, oh my God, the book Kenobi's so much better. So much better than the movie. And as I've said before, I love Alec Guinness. He does a great job in the movie, but it is a different character. It just is. That is the way I will always put it. It's a different character. And yes, I want to hold it up this way so you can see it. Yeah. Yoda 2, different character. But Empire, oh god. That is not a good book. I'm also sensitive to the situation with Empire because I achieve flow plenty of times when I write, and I love it. Because it's like this, I'm just transcribing for the story, that the story is telling me what to write, and I'm putting it down. Which also means then that I'm following the story's own motivations. Empire, how I've described before, felt like a thread that is... It felt like I was following a thread that is flimsy and fragile, where motivations don't seem to be present. It doesn't need to be that we're getting from point A to B to C because the characters are motivated to go from point A to B to C. It's more of a, well, no, we need to hit points A, B, and C, so we're going to hit points A, B, and C. And that's what it felt like, which is very disappointing. The Battle of Hoth made very little sense. Like, the tactics there and such were, no, you would not prosecute a battle that way on either side. And the technical stuff also didn't make sense there. The whole lack of coherence or incoherence with the timeline afterwards, where the Falcon crew seemed to be like, oh yeah, hours have passed, whereas Lucas had like days of training, Vader's spending days searching for the Millennium Falcon. But no, it seems like only hours passed for them. And then other things where it's like, yes, this should be hours. Captain Nita of the Avenger, after the Falcon evaded them and mounted to the back of the Star Destroyer, his time to leave the Avenger, get on a shuttle, fly off to Vader's ship, which is not necessarily nearby. There's no reason to believe it's nearby, because the Avenger was in the field. And the Superstar Destroyer had left to transmit with Coruscant, transmit with the Emperor, who I assume is in Coruscant, so it has left the asteroid field. So it would have left at a different point, and there's no reason to believe that the Superstar Destroyer has been coming around either. Maybe it has been, but it's still far off. He gets on a shuttle, flies over there, gets onto the Superstar Destroyer, goes over to like Vader's office, gives his report, his apologies, is killed, and then Vader gives the order to disband the fleet so that they can, just try to hunt down the Falcon along the path that it took, assuming it went into light speed, went into hyperspace. He's able to give that order, and then Han is seeing them breaking up, and that's when we get the conversation between him and Leia that should have been like a moment after they docked onto the back of the Star Destroyer. It's like, this is hours that have passed, and now you have the conversation? You also don't have the explanation for how Boba Fett thought to check the refuse, the garbage dump. No explanation there for that. He just does it. No explanation for how the Imperials beat them to clouds. Nothing. No explanation because, oh yeah, we need to hit this point, this point, this point. Not that any motivation makes sense. Not that the story is actually explained. Not that the story is robust, is a rope, is held together tightly. It's a single thread that is flimsy and fragile, and I'm constantly tearing holes at it. Really, really do not like the Empire Strikes Back story in this book. Which I find funny, because some people do say that the movie is the best of the original trilogy. As I said, I get moments, because to me it's all one thing, so it's like moments here and there that I may like better or worse, but the movie does do some of the conversation better, like the whole scene with Han being frozen carbonite, and it's not just because of the I know, but that they couldn't have done in the book, but also how he calms Chewie down is better in the movie too. Yeah, and just to remind people for why they could not do it that way in the book, the I love you, I know, is because for a while at this point, it was clear Leia loved him. I'm saying they were in a relationship, it was clear. You might want to argue it wasn't a deep or meaningful relationship, yes, yet. It wasn't significant yet because Han wasn't quite there yet, but they had something, all right? They clearly already had something. She saying that is just like, yes, the last time she gets to say it, potentially. Not a finally telling him. He knew. I'm actually trying to remember. Him saying it back to her would actually be more meaningful because it more so is he's not saying, because kind of his character is a little self-serving, a little selfish, things like that. So it's like him attaching himself to her is actually significant. But um, it's just the characters are Leia, movie Leia and book Leia, are just handled differently. And I do think it's handled well in the book. I do with the whole them being in the relationship and it not being a surprise. It's not like she is annoyed by him. I mean, yeah, she gets annoyed by him at times, but it's him coming up next to her, putting an arm around her, embracing her, kissing her. She'd be kissing him back. She'd be putting her arms back around him in the book. I was like, that is completely consistent. It wouldn't in the movie. It's like she'd be annoyed and try to get away from it. So very different thing. And then we get Return of the Jedi, which such a better story. Yes, there are some problems in it, but such a better story, such better telling than with the movie. I mean, it's wow. Yeah, I am genuinely impressed and incredibly satisfied from it. Yeah. And I will even add this, that one thing that I am looking forward to is because I have a number of other movie novelizations I want to go through besides this one, besides this. And actually one reason why, and I have no idea when I get to this. I know I want to read it, so I guess I'll say that. I don't know when I'd get to it. I don't know if I will necessarily be doing these videos either. Is for Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. So I'm spoiling a little bit here, because a thought entered my mind about that movie, which is a good movie. It, in my opinion, is the best Star Trek film. When Kirk surrenders at the beginning, because after Cronus 1 has been attacked and all that, he surrenders there. A thought that occurred to me, and this is something you could not do in the movie. You can't do it in the book. So maybe when he surrenders, I do wonder if that was actually contrary to the conspirators' plans. It's possible that they were expecting Kirk to fight it out, and then they could destroy him, just potentially also destroy Cronus 1. And so then they can control what the story is, because there's no witnesses left. By him surrendering, which is potentially seen as out of character, that upsets things, so they have to now start adapting their plans. I wonder, but as I said, that is something you can only really tell in the book, because then you can get into the conspirators' heads. You can't do that in the movies. Return of the Jedi is such a good example of so much more information because you're able to get into the characters' heads. So that's not to say that it will happen in the Star Trek VI novelization, but it does reinforce what I have said multiple times, that is an advantage to books. So you can see the front cover, even though it's over there, it's also right there. There's such an advantage to books, and I do hope to see that in other novelizations. But we shall see. We shall see. And there is also just generally, I would say, a reason why you do still want to read books. You don't just rely on movies. Read the books. If there's a novelization of the movie, read that. If there's not, it may still be based on a book. Go and read that. But read the books, because there are some things that you can only tell in a book. There are also some things you can only tell in a movie or a graphic novel and something like that. Each medium has its own advantages and disadvantages. But do not neglect that is a truth, that they do have advantages and disadvantages. And, seek them out, because, yeah, I mean, it's like, here, one advantage with the movie. You have more than just the author and editor, potentially, and even the literary agent, contributing to it. Now, that can help make things very tight, because it's basically one author, but then a couple other people contributing. When you're on a movie set, though, you've got director, you've got DP, director of photography, you've got the actors, you potentially have assistants, you have somebody there who, I don't remember what the name of the role is, who manages the script and such. Potentially you have the screenwriter there as well. You have so many more people that you can get more feedback, that a good director rejects some of it. A bad director is like, oh yeah, that's a fine idea, and we'll go with that. That's one reason why I don't like some of the sequel trilogy. Yes, that there's a story there, where there was a suggestion from an actor where it's like, you killed me off. I'd kind of like to be in more of these. All right, I'll put you in here. And it's so dumb, the explanation. Anyway, I don't want to touch those, so not a problem. But that is a mark of a good director, is basically one who can say, no, we're not doing that because that doesn't work. We can't do a good explanation. It's going to confuse people, or it's just not going to be of good quality. But it's still, you have those many cooks that can, if they're only providing advice and not actually putting their hands in it, can improve it. So there's one advantage there. So you get the I know line, but it also is better set up in there as well. But getting in their heads, getting to spend so much more time on things as well in a book, because you can spend an entire chapter on, like, well, yeah, I mean, you spent multiple pages. You almost spent an entire, close to a whole chapter, just like half the chapter, just about Vader and Luke's final conversation, not confrontation, conversation. You can't do that in the movie. And it's just, it is so better, so much better there in the book. So yeah, I mean, it's consume it all, I guess is one way to put it. Take it all in, ingest it all. Don't rely on a single medium if you can. And I get that not everyone is literary, as in not everyone wants to read, not everyone is interested in reading. I get that, I understand that. And I would just say, try to find classics from people that you respect, recommendations from them for what you should read, and also to try to get you going. Because it's not like you have to read a book a month. I mean, book a year, even just half a book a year. If that's all you can manage, still do it. But also, I mean, it's like if you are somebody who you love Star Wars, hey, there were novelizations of it? Where can I find them? Well, I got a link to this one for Barnes & Noble. Link to that in the description below. You can buy it there. Yes, it is also on Amazon, but I use the Barnes & Noble link. That is also where I bought my copy from. But I mean, it's like, maybe do that and use it, and you will see things that hopefully you will recognize are very good, and you might be like, wow, yeah, you know what, I should look into some of these other ones. And they do actually have a list of a whole bunch of other things. And, well, yeah, the Del Rey Star Wars timeline, because it is Del Rey that was the publisher, or at least the label for this. Yeah, because they've got, like, the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then with Attack, like, below that they have the Clone Wars TV series, then Dark Disciple, Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising, Revenge of the Sith, Catalyst, a Rogue One novel, Lords of the Sith, Tarkin, Solo, Thrawn, A New Dawn, Thrawn Alliances, Thrawn Treason, then Rebels timeline, Rogue One they put in there. So that's for, like, the prequel timeline. Then you get a new, I mean, it's like there's, maybe I should actually just count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I am assuming that there are novelizations for the movies, by the way. Because they highlight, see how they have the movies highlighted? I know there are novelizations that are right there for the prequels. I don't know about Solo and Rogue One. I'm just going to assume that that's 14 books there. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, sorry, 13 for the rest of it. For the original trilogy. Because we got A New Hope, and I read the novelization, obviously. Battlefront 2, Inferno Squad, Heir to the Jedi, Battlefront, Twilight Company. Why is Battlefront 2 listed before Battlefront? I guess it actually was a timeline prequel. Then The Empire Strikes Back, then Return of the Jedi, Alphabet Squadron, Alphabet Squadron's Shadow Fall, Aftermath Trilogy, Last Shot, now the Mandalorian TV series fits in, Bloodline, Phasma, Canto Bight, which I will grant that some of these are, I'm guessing, Disney Star Wars, so maybe you don't want to read them. That's okay. And then we get The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Resistance Reborn, Galaxy's Edge, Black Spire, then Rise of Skywalker. I'm pretty sure those novelizations do exist. I'm not touching them. Nope. Because I don't think you're going to do that. I mean, the only way I could believe that the novelizations would be better than the movies would be if it was oh, yes, thank you for the screenplay. So, we're writing this, right? I mean, it's like, get rid of that. Oh, those movies were bad. And don't worry, I threw it on something soft. Anyway. Yeah, I did definitely like it. My criticism for the physical nature of the book I do still have, which is it is too small. It makes it hard to, because now the spine is kind of broken, so here it wants to close itself. That's annoying when trying to read. but the prequel trilogy book that is so much larger that's like any page it's gonna hold itself. Hold itself open. I don't know why it's freaking out like that, but yeah. Of course, there's also an advantage to e-readers. If you want to get an ebook version, I'm not sure where all that was offered. I think I did see it when I was looking at various things on the Nook, and I think I saw it on Kobo as well. It undoubtedly is also going to be on Kindle then, so whatever version you want, you should be able to find. And potentially it will be cheaper, but you definitely, then have the Nook physical buttons that it's like, oh yes, that's very easy, and you can turn on lights and such. So yeah, neat stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, I am, as far as stories go, Empire disappointed me, but overall, I definitely enjoyed it. Return of the Jedi, and some of it, I'm hyped because I also just finished reading it. It was so good that just, yeah, I mean, if they sold them separately, I could see myself for a, collector kind of thing, which I wouldn't do this, but buying the A New Hope one, where it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's got its weaknesses, but it is a serviceable. It works. And then buying Return of the Jedi as okay, this is legitimately good. And then Empire being like, yes, just watch the movie, don't worry about the novel. So yeah, we'll be getting to this next, but I may take a week before getting to it, just to give me time to do some other things. I may first do the video going through some of the actual printing on this, but the actual construction of the book, I may do that first. But yeah, I definitely do recommend this, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Absolutely read Return of the Jedi. I am amazed at how good that is, how good that came out, especially coming out of Empire Strikes Back that wasn't so good. All right. That's all. See you next time.